My family history, and for me, this has always been personal. You're probably tired of me telling the story, but I was born 2 blocks from here in St. Joseph Mercy Hospital at Milwaukee and Grand Boulevard, the site of the GM plant today. And my mom always tells the story that in 1958, when my dad drove her to the hospital, she was in labor, they drove past the closed Packard Plant. My mom is 90 years old and still vibrant and full of opinions. And for my entire 12 years, she says, when are you going to get to that Packard plant? And so we started really from the beginning of the administration. What we referred to as the Packard plant was 3.5 million square feet of industrial space over 47 separate buildings. We talk about it as if it was one plant, but really, particularly in the lead up to World War II, lots of plants were built here. This really was the heart of what became known as the arsenal of democracy. But this plant closed in 1956. So it's been almost exactly 70 years. And as everybody here knows, the pictures of the abandoned Packard plant became Detroit's image internationally. People delighted in coming to Detroit and taking pictures of the abandoned plant. With the help of the American Rescue Plan in 2024, we finally got the rest of it down, except I made the decision we were not going to take down the frontage on Grand Boulevard. And again, Detroiters who know the history, Mayor Hazen Pingree built Grand Boulevard starting in the 1890s as the outer perimeter of Detroit, and for many years was one of Detroit's premier addresses. The first institution built on the new Grand Boulevard was the Packard Plant in 1903. So the first 10,000 square foot modern auto plant was on this site. So for 120 years, the Packard Plant has lined Grand Boulevard. Of course, on West Grand Boulevard 10 years later, they built another institution, the brand new Henry Ford Hospital, which is still on the same site and undergoing great expansion. I wanted, if it was possible, to preserve at least the frontage on Grand Boulevard, and you've seen what we've done over the years. We haven't hesitated to make the hard decisions as we did on Cadillac stamping when a plant couldn't be saved, to knock it down and replace it. But every single time we can preserve our historic architecture, we do. We did it in dramatic fashion with Michigan Central. We did it with the Studebaker plant on Paquette that is now known as Paquette Flat Apartments. We did it in the Metropolitan Building, turning that into a hotel. Fisher 21 is now being turned into 400 apartments. You've seen the United Artists Building being restored now as apartments. The Book Building, what Dan Gilbert did. Lee Plaza at the other end of Grand Boulevard that nobody thought could be saved is being restored. Even with the State Fair Coliseum, which couldn't be saved, we preserved the facade as a new Coliseum Park, and today we are working very hard to save 3 out of 5 towers of the Renaissance Center. Every single time that we can save our historic architecture, we do. And so we went out for bid and asked people for proposals, and we got no proposals unless we knock down these 2 buildings and they can put in 2 new plants. That might have been something some administration would consider in the future when all else has failed, but we took one last shot. And I was glad to talk to Owen Goldenberg, and if you haven't seen what he did, he and his partner did Dream Detroit, the Lincoln Motors plant over by Henry Ford Hospital that everybody said had to be demolished. It took them a period of years, but they transformed that industrial space into both maker space in the arts community and housing, and did a spectacular job. It was probably the most similar development as this, using historic industrial space and repurposing it to a modern use. And with his partner, Mark Bennett, they came forward and they had a number of ideas, and we finally made the decision to say, we need to break this into 2 sites. This is way too much. And so they said, we'll take the south side of Grand Boulevard. And I'm going to let them talk to you about their vision. And we're going to get an industrial plant with 300 jobs on the site, which is traditional. But when you hear the rest of their plans, the idea of having a 100,000 square foot Albert Kahn legacy building for the community and the arts, to have 42 maker spaces, to have an indoor skate park, an electronic music museum, they are going to take an historic site and create a destination right here on Grand Boulevard. And so today, we still have people who post on social media the picture of the abandoned Packard plant like it's still here. And these people who want to run down Detroit's image do that, and almost invariably somebody posts a picture of the vacant land and say we knocked it down. After today, people will be posting the images of the vision of these two developers. And for anybody here watching, we have an opportunity on the north side of Grand Boulevard for yet another development. Of course, that will be overseen by my successor and my partner for the last 12 years on this property, Council President and Mayor-elect Mary Sheffield.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is such a powerful moment for District 5 and this entire community that I've represented for the last 12 years. We've come a long way with this Packard site, and so I'm extremely proud of the development that is being announced today. I want you all to know that as the mayor-elect for the great city of Detroit, that I am committed to seeing this project through for the betterment of this community and the city as a whole. I want to thank Mayor Duggan, the Packard Development Partners, the DEGC, the Albert Kahn Legacy Foundation, and every partner who played a role in bringing us to this point today. This 28-acre transformational site represents the kind of inclusive development that our residents deserve. We're talking about 300 good-paying manufacturing jobs, a world-class industrial facility, the restoration of a legacy historic building that will soon house 42 affordable housing make-live units, Detroit's first indoor skate park, the Museum of Detroit Electronic Music, and a new public space where families and artists and neighbors can come together as one. For decades, as the mayor mentioned, the Packard Plant stood as one of the city's most visible reminders of disinvestment and decline. But today we declare collectively that those days are over. The Packard site would now be a symbol of what is possible when Detroiters, public partners, and committed developers come together with imagination and purpose. This is how we truly honor our past while building our future, by preserving our history, creating jobs, expanding housing, and investing in culture and community all at one time. I am proud that this transformational project is happening right here in the heart of District 5, and I'm even more proud what it would mean to the people that call this community their home. So I now have the privilege of bringing up the new representative for District 5, my colleague, Councilmember Benson.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mayor-elect Sheffield. And this will now be the new 3rd District, and I see a number of my bosses out here, so really glad that you all were able to make it out here and participate today. As was said before, for decades, the Packard Plant stood as an undeniable scar on the face of our community. It was a massive hollow shell, a monument to decline that seemed to absorb hope and reflect blight. For every resident who drove past it, for every family who lived in its shadow, the site represented a promise unfulfilled and a challenge too big to solve until today. We have all carried the weight of this factory's decay for too long, but today we look at the breathtaking potential of a rising Detroit, and as we know, rising waters lift all boats, and that's what we're seeing here today. This is a moment of transformation, tenacity, and triumph. We are turning a symbol of abandonment into a vibrant, functioning core of our district and this neighborhood. And I am so glad that we have the residents here today to see this and to be a part of this transformation. This redevelopment is not simply about fixing a building. It is about rebuilding our neighborhood economy, our social fabric, and our future. Think about what is rising here today. Deeply affordable housing. We are assuring that people who built, who make, and who live in the city will be able to stay in this neighborhood and or move in. They will have quality, accessible, affordable housing right here. And this is about housing, stability, and equity. Building generational wealth. The ground floor will be an engine for local economic development. We will have manufacturing right here, as well as the ability to do small business for entrepreneurs. And community gathering spaces and recreation. We are creating places where neighbors can meet, children can play, and community can be strengthened. This plan is becoming a place of connection, not exclusion. I want to thank the development team and the administration and the new administration for their work here in this area. And Reverend, that does deserve a hand clap. Go right ahead. This project is a testament to what happens when Detroiters refuse to give up. This kind of vision demands incredible dedication and commitment, and I want to acknowledge once again the people who made this historic day possible. The development team, thank you for the foresight, the financial risk, and the unwavering resolve to see this impossible project through, and people often don't recognize the financial risk when it comes to development, so thank you for that. To the community members, my bosses, and neighborhood organizations who never stopped advocating for the site's potential, your voice has shaped and will shape this project. And our and your persistence will guide every decision. And to the administration and future administration, as well as DEGC, the Jets, and our city partners, thank you for the careful planning and necessary commitment to hold this project accountable to a vision that prioritizes this community and the people of Detroit. Once again, thank you. This revitalization is a core pillar of the city's overall vision, the same vision that fuels our efforts in generational wealth building and healthy neighborhoods. The new life in this factory sends a clear message. The future of Detroit is rooted in its neighborhoods, and we are not just investing in cement and steel, we are investing in you. Let's all celebrate this new dawn, and let's get to work building the next chapter of District 3 and the city of Detroit. So thank you all. And then we need to ensure that we recognize those who are going to be doing this development. And so we can bring up the development team, Mr. Mark and Orrin. Oh, there you go.
All right. Before I bring up the development team, I got to say congratulations to Hassan Beydoun, Brittany Haska, the whole DEGC team. You guys have been working on this project how many years? Been a lot. And the easiest thing in the world would have been to do what we did on Cadillac Stamping. Knock a building down, put up a Lear seating plant, put in 700 jobs. That would not have been a bad decision. But the Cadillac Stamping plant had no historic value. Instead, this is going to be a slower development. It's going to take them a period of years, but I think it's going to be built out in a way that the neighborhood is going to feel like it's part of the neighborhood, and they're going to be proud of. And so with that, let me bring up the two developers, Owen Goldenberg and Mark Bennett, and they're going to tell you their vision for the site.
Before we start, maybe if people can come in a little more, there's some folks outside, and it's pretty cold out. Yeah, let them in. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone.
What up, Doe?
I'm Mark Bennett, and this is my partner and longtime collaborator, Orrin Goldenberg. Good morning, Orrin.
Good morning, Mark. First, let's start with Mayor Duggan. Thank you so much for your vision and instigating this whole development a year ago on our side and inviting us to put forward a plan for it. We can't wait to keep working with you when you're up in Lansing.
All right. And to Mayor-elect Sheffield, this is such an incredible honor to bring new life into this district. We're ready to steward Packard Park with you and your administration and create a unique asset for the city and an international destination.
And Councilmember Benson, this site has such a historic value. We are eager to start working with you as the new council representative and the entire city council to shepherd in the future of Packard Park for this neighborhood. How did we get here, Mark? This is incredible.
I think we met in 2018, give or take. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. I was trying to figure out how to develop the Lincoln Motor Factory and save it, and it's now Dream Detroit.
And it was our mutual colleague, Michael Serling, who asked me to meet you and help you out.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that. I actually learned so much from Mark. Michael is one of my mom's oldest friends, and he was mentored by my grandfather, Judge George D. Kent. May his memory be a blessing. So this partnership has a long legacy.
Much like the Packard Plant.
Yeah, definitely. And this land we're on. Something I love about Detroit's native heritage is that the people here were called Niswi Mishkodiwinan, the people of three fires. And that name refers to the coming together of different tribes and different people with different strengths and different heritage to make a space they wanted to be in together.
Very much like the folks that work and live at Packard Park.
Yeah, and the team we've assembled to make it happen. A lot of them are here with us today.
So I guess that's a good segue to actually talk about the project now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay.
for more than a century, you've heard some of this, but this 40-acre site has carried Detroit's creative and industrial DNA from the Packard motor car factory built by Albert Kahn over 120 years ago, where more than 1.6 million cars rolled off the lines and 36,000 people worked.
And after that, thousands and thousands of people came to rave here and create the techno Detroit is known for. And then came the art projects and film projects, not to mention that tiger that escaped during a photo shoot.
Whose whereabouts is still unknown, I think. Yeah?
No, I'm pretty sure they captured it with like a weed whacker or
Okay.
something, right?
Well, this next phase of history, which we call Packard Park, is continuing these trajectories and merging them together. As we've heard, 400,000 square feet of new Class A industrial space with 300 new jobs. This building right behind us is 116,000 square feet, which is going to be completely redeveloped, adding 2 acres of outdoor recreation for our neighbors and the broader community, and 42 make-live affordable housing units, very similar to what was done at Dreamtroit, for creative and workers to innovate and collaborate and stay in their neighborhood.
Beyond those who will work here and live here, the anchor of Packard Park will be the people who gather here. In this existing building, we're going to build a cultural center. We're working closely with Community Push, Detroit's Community Skateboarding Initiative, working with Derek and Kevion and Nick to create Detroit's first indoor skate park. The culmination of all these projects coming together in Packard Park will utilize adaptive reuse and community development to uplift Detroit's important past while bringing the future we want to be in.
There were over 30 professionals on our team, and development is a team sport. Or and I are sort of running the team, but without all these people, this would not happen. Here today, including our partners from the Albert Kahn Legacy Foundation you're going to hear from, whose mission is to preserve Mr. Kahn's legacy and buildings like this.
Albert Kahn and Associates have designed and built the original Packard Plant 120 years ago. And it's so cool to still be working with them today. They're leading our, Andy Danaher and his crew are leading our architectural team here. Additionally, Craig Maldonado, my dear friend, has been coming in from New York to help us design the vision for the adaptive reuse of this place. We also have Mark and Kevin from Resurgent Engineering, Elizabeth from SME, Jim and Amy from PEA, Jake, Charlie, and Gordon from Plant Moran, and our forever friends at Invest Detroit.
Additionally, our capital partners include Nuveen Green Capital, SB Freeman, and BWE. We also want to sincerely thank the Wayne County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for their Brownfield grant to move things along. Our leasing is being handled by John Boyd and Joe Stack of Signature Associates, who you'll meet on the way out. Lowell Salison from Honigman and Jeff Arnoff from Miller Canfield head up our legal team, and Matt Freeman of Tanner Freeman, our communications director. And I can't forget probably my most trusted advisor, my son Dylan Bennett, who's here today from New York. We're trying to get him back into town, and maybe we will accomplish it with this activity.
Most importantly, it's been an honor to work closely with the city of Detroit. Brittany and Brandon from the mayor's office, David, Derek, and Jean from the DGC. We've all been working diligently together for over a year to get this project launched. We will additionally, we'll let you guys all know, after this, we're going to be celebrating at Dreamtroit. You're all invited to the Lincoln Factory for pizza and a toast.
And finally, thanks to Shannon Selby. I don't know if Shannon is here today. Shannon is our champion at the Detroit Regional Partnership. I met Shannon at the Power Connections event that Derek Dickow put together, an amazing conference this summer. And that resulted in the DRP providing us with a site acceleration grant in their VIP program, which has pulled ahead our due diligence by over a year. So I would encourage anybody in this space to be looking at. the incredible impact that DRP can have. And with us today for brief remarks is DRP's President and Chief Executive Officer, Maureen Krause. Thank you, Maureen.
Good morning, everyone. I am so thrilled to be here with the mayor and the mayor-elect and this amazing team to put this project together. So while the Detroit Regional Partnership represents the city, it also represents the 11-county region around it. And it's such a great time now that the city is leading this region in iconic developments that really not only take amazing buildings and make them look fabulous again, but it spreads through the neighborhoods. And you can see with every project that we've looked at in the past several years, whether it's, you know, Michigan Central or the book building, I could go on and on. What you see after you leave this event is what happens in the neighborhoods. You know, we work to attract investment and jobs from around the world. That's what the Detroit Regional Partnership does every day. But in the end, we know that every job is important to the person who has it. So we are thrilled to be here today to see the redevelopment and the new vision for this site, and we can't wait to be telling the world about another opportunity in the city of Detroit. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. I don't know, real quick, I got to shout out Nick Joseph. This is one of my, I've known him since middle school. He's in the neighborhood running the neighborhood council here. It's so cool to see you, man. We would also not be here today without the vision from Detroit's most remarkable entrepreneur and visionary, Albert Kahn. So here to make some remarks is Michael Smith from the Albert Kahn Legacy Foundation.
I feel like I'm batting ninth here after all of this. But just to give you a little background on the Albert Kahn Legacy Foundation, obviously we're in the business of educating people and promoting the legacy of Albert Kahn, but also in a more general sense, the reappreciation of the incredible role that Detroit played in the last century in an architectural capacity. That the innovation that you see in these buildings here is something that came from Detroit in the auto industry, and it's an incredible testament, I think, the fact that over a century later that this type of innovation is being re-celebrated and reused once again. The Legacy Foundation is involved with a number of different developers throughout the city. We've been involved in the Fisher Body 21 plant and helping them to research the background of that operation. Also, more importantly, the recent Cadillac renovation at 450 Amsterdam saved them several $1 million in terms of the business plan that they had developed there. And we hope to do the same thing here. And it's a tremendous honor to be involved in this type of work, and hope that that this project will be even more successful than the others that we've been involved in. So thank you all so much for having us involved in it, and we'll help in any way that we can.
And so part of this is also ensuring that the community voices are also heard. So if we could have the members of the 313 PCC, Nick, if you could come up and give a brief few words on behalf of the organization. I see some of your local residents, they want to come up as well.
Thank God. This is unscripted, so we'll keep it really short. I think that the biggest thing we can say is we're excited for the development, and speaking for people that have lived here during the demise and subsequent maybe forgetting about this area, it's going to be our job to have open communication and foster a positive sense that this is for the community here. And we're really excited that there's going to be a spotlight on this area. And I mean, that's it. We want them to show us what they got.
So I'd like to say thank you to everybody that came out. Thank you guys for developing this. We are excited to see the new development. For years, we've just looked at the vacant Packard Plant and thought that was all we were ever going to see. So we're glad to see that the portions that could not be saved were demolished, and that the other parts will be repurposed. I am so glad to see that myself, actually. So there is more hope for the future. The residents who live here, we look forward to working with the developers and learning more about the project, and hopefully this will attract more neighbors, more neighbor investments, and more people to come back to our neighborhood. So thank you guys, everybody.
Well, that concludes the press conference for today. We thank you all for coming out, and let's get to work rebuilding this beautiful neighborhood. And we again thank you to the developers, the mayor, my colleagues, and all of you for joining us today. Thank you all for coming out.